And that's what he said right after being ushered off the stage when the word gun, gun, gun was yelled out on the floor in that rally in Nevada. And he came back out in a few minutes and said, we're not going to be stopped. And by the way, where was I on the script? Back to action.
Look who's here. At 8 o'clock here in New York City, we got Kellyanne Conway, who's running the Trump campaign. What's going on out there?
Well, it was a little bit scary, just because I think when you're up at the podium, you don't know why you're being whisked away by the Secret Service.
Yeah, he was like this. He couldn't see.
And he's, obviously, he could have left. Everyone would have understood, but that's Donald Trump. He wants to come right back to the stage once he was told it was safe to do so.
Fascinating, because it found out the traveling press was back in the buses.
Correct.
What happened behind the scenes?
Well, behind the scenes, they had left.
Show's over.
They left. The show's over. And this protester, we're finding out this morning, is he's a Democrat, I'm told.
Hillary supporter.
A Hillary supporter. And so people are trying to spin it, Brian, that, oh, well, this is the kind of action you get at your rallies when you say certain things. This guy was a Democrat, probably a plant. And look, I just think it's a microcosmic example of how desperate they're becoming. They're following us all over the map. We're scrambling the electoral map. We're playing follow the leader with us in the lead. For all the bluster over the last couple of weeks of the race is over, and we're going to turn Texas and Georgia from red to blue. They're back in Michigan today. She's got Barack Obama going to Michigan, Bill and Hillary Clinton. They were just in Wisconsin. They're practically taking up residence in Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, all so-called blue states, where we are either leading or tied. And
what is your
really
internal polling telling you about what is going on in Minnesota and in Michigan?
So we hadn't been in the field in Minnesota in a while, and based on some stuff we were getting back from the ground, we did a quick poll in Minnesota, down 3 points, so we thought, let's go to Minnesota. It's the same type of trend that we saw happening in Michigan and Wisconsin, New Hampshire, Nevada weeks ago. And so we feel really good. We get a daily report on the absentee voting and early voting. We like those trends compared to where the Republican nominee was in 2012.
A lot of people are very concerned about Florida on the Republican side because of the early turnout. It seemed to switch back to Democrats, and there seems to be a big Hispanic turnout, and I guess the assumption is that would be against the Republicans.
It would certainly, if all that were true, it would help Hillary Clinton marginally. It's not all true. We also see upticks in the number of Republican ballots that were requested in key counties, and then we also see based on some of the returns, we feel very good, particularly because we predict, Brian, that on Tuesday you're going to see the voter lines swelling with Trump supporters. And look, you see this momentum and enthusiasm, it matters. Why? Because Trump voters and the rest of America had been told for 2 weeks, the race is over, the path is closed, and there they are lining up for hours. It looks like, frankly, it looks like Obama 2008 all over again, plus.
You know what's interesting, too? The early voting. A lot of people went to the polls at the beginning of October in the state of Nevada. That's before the FBI reopened the investigation on October 28th, that Friday.
Obamacare collapsed.
Before Obamacare collapsed, and before this story this morning of Hillary Clinton's maid having all the access to her emails and printing out emails. So early voters went at the beginning of October without having all the information. Should we do away with early voting?
I don't really care for extended voting for a month in some of these states. I don't see what the purpose is. And frankly, some of it passed with Republican governors and Republican legislatures in charge, P.S. But, you know, look, we want to make it more convenient for people to exercise their franchise if they're not able to go because of school, work, or family on the Tuesday in November.
So make it a federal holiday.
Time, why have it for a month? What's going? And by the way, early voting generally favors incumbents, particularly down ballot, because you have the resources and you have the name identification to actually get your message out. It really hurts challengers, and so that goes right against what Americans tell pollsters, which is I like term limits. I have a 12% approval rating of Congress. They don't really want the incumbents in there necessarily.
There's a brand new Investors Business Daily poll out. They come out every day. It's a tracking poll. Donald Trump is actually now leading Hillary Clinton 44 to 43. What's interesting about it, you look down in who's supporting whom. 90% of Republicans now are supporting Donald Trump. He's got 41% of the independents. So the message that Donald Trump and Mike Pence have had all along where, hey, Republicans, time to come on home.
Yes.
They're coming home.
They're coming home. That number was in the 70s not so long ago, in terms of 75, 78% of Republicans. When we see them coming home, You saw yesterday that very well illustrated. You saw Mike Pence with Governor Walker and Speaker Ryan and Senator Johnson, whose numbers are improving in Wisconsin himself. You saw Doug Ducey, the governor of Arizona, earlier in the week with Mike Pence. So we saw Ed Gillespie in Virginia introduce him last night to a huge crowd. We feel great about the fact that we have GOP unity. I know there are a couple of, big mouths out there who are against us, and they tend to, not ironically, not coincidentally, get a lot of airtime and print time, and that's their right. But we feel great about the rank and file. Everywhere you go, I meet people in these rallies that say, I haven't been this excited since Ronald Reagan, or I haven't even bothered to vote in the last couple of cycles, because I will ask them, do you mind if I ask you, did you vote for President Obama? Right, the world is my focus group, Steve, come on. Did you vote for President Obama? Did you vote for President Clinton, Bill Clinton before? And sometimes they have, sometimes they're straight ticket Republicans, but either way they have a story to tell, which is, Donald Trump didn't make me leave the Republican Party. It got me excited about the race.
One thing we're doing now, like we haven't done in the beginning, is every network is carrying every candidate's speech between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and I'm hearing him always open with the news of the day.
Yes.
And will this be something that Donald Trump brings up today? That the nanny, the housekeeper had access to classified material on the fax and in the email, and might have an answer to where the Apple computer disappeared to?
He absolutely should, and he will. In addition to every single state he goes into, Brian, reminding the people there how their Obamacare premiums have increased. A state like Minnesota, where he's going today, where the Democratic governor has been very critical. Governor Dayton has been very critical of Obamacare. Basically sounds like Donald Trump and Mike Pence on the problems with Obamacare, how unaffordable, how inaccessible. But I think this maid story is important for another reason. The housekeeper story is important because Hillary Clinton has been telling everybody, folks have already made up their mind about what they think on the emails. That's pretty arrogant. It's also inaccurate. It's not true, because every day we find out something new about either our national security being put at risk because of her reckless, selfish, peevish behavior. And we really find out like another iteration of what I always call Hillary first. Her entire career has been about protecting and advancing Hillary Clinton. Everybody else be darned. This shows you again.
Yeah, it shows there's a different standard, because to handle these classified secrets, and apparently, and we're learning now from this great big State Department document on Friday, 1,000 documents are out there, they would constantly say, okay, let's have Marina Santos print it. Let's have her fax it. Let's have all the stuff. She did not have security clearance, and so it just goes to show you, and you can see the classified documents right there.
Unbelievable.
It just goes to show you how flawed the FBI investigation was into her criminal email scandal. And so, 48 hours out, is this the last high heel to drop?
No, it's not the last stiletto to drop, I'm sure. But it also tells us, why even wait for something else, Steve? Why not just, don't we have enough evidence now that she's unfit and unqualified to be President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief? She's completely disqualified herself by the way that she has so recklessly and carelessly handled this information. And let me make very clear, I feel sorry for the housekeeper. These stories are not about the housekeeper. She wasn't reckless in her handling of it.
In fact, she's doing a great job.
That's right. She's doing a great job. The issue is not FBI Director Comey. The issue is Hillary Clinton. That's who's running for president. That's who put your security and your family's security right on the line, jeopardized it, basically, again, for petty personal reasons. The idea that the Democrats are running around saying 650,000 emails, they may all be duplicates. Really? I mean, even if 100,000 of them are of Anthony Weiner's parts, then we're down to 500,000. Sorry, it's a family show. It's early on a Sunday pre-church.
Remember when Donald Trump's been on the campaign trail talking about how bad Obamacare is, and Bill Clinton said, "Yeah, it's the craziest thing
I've ever seen." We agree.
We've ever seen. Well, then Donald Trump's also on the campaign trail saying the system is rigged. Well, it turns out Bill Clinton thinks so too. There's a transcript from a speech back in 2015, and this is what he said.
Closed-door fundraiser too. We're not supposed to hear this.
That's right. He said there are lots of people who are sick and tired of working their heart out and never getting a pay raise. And so they think the political system is rigged against them, which it is to some extent.
There you go, bingo. We keep on channeling Bill Clinton on certain things. The other thing I would just point out is all this tells me is that we've been asking the right questions about the wrong candidate. Is she fit? Is she qualified? Do they believe the system is rigged? Do they believe that Obamacare is the craziest thing you've ever seen? And it also just tells me that in these waning hours, Hillary Clinton is on total defense. It's a place that's never a good look for her, never a good place for her. She never saw Barack Obama coming in 2008. She never saw Bernie Sanders coming earlier this year. The guy is a socialist. He won 22 states and millions of voters. And he's been way off message this week, and basically way off message. Had somebody in Iowa, a Bernie Sanders supporter, introducing Hillary last night. The lady had to be taken off the stage because she was trashing Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And then she never saw her comeback coming, not once but twice now.
Here's Hillary Clinton's husband, Bill Clinton, again saying this, quote, "She deserves this, and she will not disappoint you. But to get there, we have to not disappoint her."
Ooh, yeah, no, I bet he really knows what it's like, the wrath of disappointing her. That China is flying in Chappaqua on a regular basis, I have no doubt. And you know what, by the way, I find it to be a really arrogant, selfish statement to say that she should be president of the United States because it's her turn.
Yeah.
She deserves it. She's earned it. Why? By staying with him, by trying to clear the field of other Democrats who wanted to run.
Sure.
And it's just, that's not how we pick a president, ladies and gentlemen. That's not democracy. It's not a monarchy. It's not who's next in line. But by the way, the royalism that portends usually infects the Republican Party. Who's next in line, who lost to the person, who lost to the person who won. And I'm so thrilled that this year we have a nominee who earned it fairly and squarely, who took his message directly to the people and came out of nowhere literally.
Absolutely.
They're the ones trying to fight against the grassroots, saying, why did you give us this turkey?
Let us just ask you a real quick extra question. Right now, Donald Trump has the momentum. The polls indicate that. You see the crowd's gigantic. It's the momentum versus the machine. Her machine getting out the vote. Who wins?
But he wins. He's going to win on Tuesday night. I'll see I changed the invitation from election night to victory party, so please come. And the reason that he'll win is because when people see a winner, when they see you can actually do it, you can execute, they picture you in the office, then they come up and they show for you. And people will eventually say, I'm part of the 75% of Americans who do say I want change. This is maybe my only chance to truly turn over the tables. We take her machine very seriously. It's a well-oiled one. But here's the exit question for you. If she starts out with a so-called blue wall at 248 electoral votes, where the heck, why can't she find another 22? She only has to find 22. We have to find like 500. She has to find 22.
Because you went into her 248.
We've cemented, we're digging into our 248. We're putting them on defense. The last couple of days, everyone will essentially be in blue states.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
very much.
See you soon.